Episode 18. Are we there yet? All right, sit back, relax, grab a snack. The 10-minute off-road podcast is about to begin. Hello, I'm your host, Nikki G, and I'm here to inform, delight, and entertain you about all things off-road for the next 10 minutes or so. Why 10 minutes? Well, that's about how long you could stand my shrill voice. All right, let's get things started. This week, I want to talk about traveling. I recently took not quite a cross-country trip, but I drove from North Carolina to Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is about halfway across this beautiful country of ours. And I got to tell you, I don't mind driving, but long drives, they're kind of daunting. And it gave me a lot of time to think and reflect. I thought about all the off-roading I do. 90% of it is within an hour and a half drive from my home. I'm fortunate enough to live in central North Carolina where there's, I wouldn't say an abundance of wheeling, but there's lots of places to explore close by within 2-3 hours even. But I very rarely drive an hour and a half away to do wheeling. And I started to think, why don't I venture out more? And the long and short of it is it all comes down to my Jeep. I love my Jeep. I can't imagine not driving my Jeep. But it's kind of set up for off-road. And on the road, it's almost as if I have two Jeeps. I have my off-road Jeep, which I love and handles just about everything I throw at it, even though it has a slight overheat issue in the dead of summer, which seems to be getting better. On the road, it mechanically runs fine. It runs really cool on the road, temperature-wise, although the other cool is awesome too. But I gotta tell you, the XJ seats they put in it are not very comfortable. The road noise from the mud tires and the stiff springs I have on it kind of make it not a fun vehicle to drive on long distances. This past week, I went wheeling in South Carolina, a place called Muster Ground, which I've never heard of until just a few weeks ago. I got to give a shout out to Camping Randy. Connected him through Facebook. I think a buddy saw an invite that he had up and tagged me in it. And long story short, a bunch of us met Camping Randy in South Carolina and to a trail I've never been on before. And I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was great views, good company. It was good. It was a very enjoyable trail ride. I really liked it. But driving home, I was reflecting on it and said, why didn't I do this sooner? And the long story short is it was about a 3.5 hour drive from my house. And I never traveled that far to go wheeling, which is sad on my part. But then I started thinking, well, why don't I travel? And my Jeep is very uncomfortable to drive on long distances. So I'm curious, who else is in that situation? I know a lot of people that don't drive more than 2 or 3 hours to go wheeling. And I feel sorry for some of the people that have to drive really far to go wheeling. That's what kind of holds me back. I would like to, I think I would enjoy driving my Jeep more if I broke it down. I think drive 3.5 hours, wheel somewhere, spend the night, drive another 3.5 hours to go wheeling, spend the night. And then at the end of a week, you're probably, I don't know, a 12-hour drive away from home or something. And then you can break that up in a couple of days. Or if you're lucky enough to trailer your vehicle, I think that would be a lot easier. So when I drove to Tulsa, I was in a 2019 Dodge Ram 1500. That was comfortable. It was very enjoyable. I think if I had to drive my Jeep to Tulsa, Well, by the time I got there, I think all my dental work would have rattled out. I don't think I could have done it in my Jeep. I don't think I could drive my Jeep for 8 or 9 hours a day for 2 days straight. That is totally unrealistic. I think I'm all over the place on this. So let me bring it back on track. My hat goes off to you people that wheel all over this countryside. I know if you follow Jack to Jeep, he's in, I think, Iowa, but he was recently here in North Carolina wheeling, and I didn't see his, I didn't know about it till after he was gone, but I would have liked to get together with wheel with him. But my hat's off to the people that travel countryside, like Light Bright Nation. It just seems like they go everywhere wheeling. But then again, they trailer their rig. And that brings me to another point. I drive my Jeep for 3.5, 4 hours to get to a wheeling spot. Then I wheel. I got to be kind of careful because I don't want to break it. And then because I'm out of towing range, although I could just get it towed to a shop. There's reputable 4x4 shops all across this country. I'm sure somebody will pitch in, help out, and give me a shop name. But the further I go, the more nervous I am about braking. First of all, the longer the Jeep's on the road is longer chance that it'll break down. Then wheeling, I'm a nervous wreck that I might not make it home. And then the ride home, it's kind of harrowing because, you're driving a 27-year-old vehicle. And I don't know about you guys, but mine has a ton of miles on it. It's almost pushing 300,000. And it's beat to death. I take care of it the best I can, but I build it to enjoy. And so it's kind of beat. The thought is always in the back of my head that this could break down. And I always do my best to give it an inspection before I leave the house to go wheeling. The day before wheeling, I'm loading up my Jeep and I'm going through it with a fine-tooth comb. And then leaving when I'm done wheeling, I kind of give it a glance over, make sure everything's okay. There's nothing hanging on by a thread. My biggest fear is my steering is just going to come undone while I'm going down the highway, which realistically that won't happen. Not without cluing you in first with a little bit of noise. But in short, let's wrap it up. Wheeling. I love wheeling. Driving. I hate driving to wheel. I love going to new places and meeting new people, but I don't really want to go too far. And I am lucky enough to be in a state that offers a ton of wheeling relatively close by. I'm fortunate enough to live in a beautiful state that has lots of views, lots of wheeling relatively close by. And I tell you, if you're looking for new places to wheel, you're tired of the same old, just give a shout out on social media. Wheelers everywhere will step up, give you good ideas, heck, even invite you out on a trip. If it happened to me, it could happen to you.
Follow the 10-Minute Off-Road Podcast on Twitter, the Gram, and YouTube.
All right, until next time, this is Nikki G saying wheel what you got and be happy. I did it all by myself.